People come in like, oh, I've been coming in since my son was a baby, now he's 15. That is huge. You've done every birthday cake for my daughter. She's 10. It's not just about serving a soup or serving. There's more to it. And you can make all the stuff at home. Like everything we do, it's not like Michelin meal where you're like, oh my God, how did they do that? So that's quite powerful. Like you're choosing to come in and you could make your own scone. Obviously it won't be as good, but you could. So like just not taking that for granted that people are choosing to spend time with you and share experiences and celebrations. It's like massive.
I'm Kevin Rivers, and my friend Carlos Miranda and I are two American expats who spend their days either eating or waiting to eat in our adopted home of Edinburgh. We're on a 10-episode journey to learn the stories behind some of the bars, restaurants, and coffee shops that make up this city's world-class food scene. This is Eating and Waiting to Eat.
Kev, when you were growing up, if there was a birthday or like an occasion worth celebrating, how did your family celebrate?
In my family, celebrations always centered around food. And I think that's really where a lot of my love for food comes from. Every year on your birthday, my parents would make you whatever it was that you wanted. As a kid, I always felt so much love through the act of somebody cooking for you. But it really wasn't until I got older and started cooking myself where I began to appreciate, as the person cooking the food, how much love and appreciation you feel being asked to cook for someone as well. If someone in my family asks me to cook something for them, I feel really special. The act of preparing a meal that person wants is very much how you care for somebody. And it very much is my idea of family, because so much of my family growing up and the times that we really shared together, it was around the kitchen table. It was in the kitchen. It was always about food. I know for you, our guest this week plays a huge part in your family's celebrations here in Edinburgh. So why don't you tell us about who we're talking to this week?
You know, everything that you said really resonates with me because my family growing up did a version of that as well. And everything really revolved around food. But since we moved to Edinburgh, you know, I still cook. My wife cooks, like whatever the kids want. But for the last 5 years, every occasion, this isn't paying lip service to our guests, really every occasion is marked with some kind of baked good from Mimi's Bakehouse. So yeah, our guest really is part of how we celebrate and how we do things. So much so that my wife, Alicia, the day that we dropped our first episode, bought us cupcakes from Mimi's. A lot of the guests that we've had are personal, but Mimi's is also part of how my family here in Edinburgh, how we celebrate and mark special occasions.
For a celebration in the Miranda house, right? Let's say it's Carlos's birthday.
Yeah.
What are you ordering for that celebration?
Okay, honestly, two things. One is a carrot cake, and two, and I'm super basic when it comes to this, I just want vanilla cupcakes with vanilla icing.
Oh, wow.
That's just what I want. I want vanilla on vanilla. Don't get me wrong. I like chocolate cupcakes too. I like red velvet. But if I'm choosing 12 cupcakes to eat, I'm just going to go vanilla on vanilla. Super basic, but you know, you love what you love. And honestly, they don't get any better than vanilla on vanilla from Mimi's Bakehouse.
All right, so why don't you give us some of the vital stats on Mimi's?
Mimi's was originally established in 2010, and we're going to hear from Ashley, who is actually one of Mimi's daughters, the real origin story, because this is now a multi-generational family affair. They have little tiny outposts like the one in Archerfield, who are really just kind of small takeaway counters. And then they have much larger shops and borderline restaurants. The one that we go to is in Comley Bank. And everything is light, it's airy, it's poppy, it's playful. They talk about wanting you to feel like you're getting a hug from them in the most wonderful way. And you really get that.
And it's worth noting too, in their larger cafes, it's not just baked goods. Like you can go in, you can get a sandwich and a salad. They have some breakfasty options. They have some lunch options. So it is a place where you can go have a little meal and follow it up with a lovely baked good.
100%. Something else to know, especially if you're visiting and you have young children, They do an amazing afternoon tea. So much so that anytime any family or friends are coming to visit us and they have younger kids or even teenagers, that's where we go for afternoon tea because it's not stuffy at all. It's delicious and it's just a lot of fun. And I will say, talking about the restaurants and the shops, there's a vibe to them that is very nostalgic, which I love. With very little changes, you could be in the 1960s, it could be the 1980s, 1990s, and there is something that just works around that. And it's nice to be in there. It's pleasant to be in any of their shops. It's mostly cafes and shops, so you don't really need a reservation. You can just kind of pop in. However, if you are doing like afternoon tea or you're looking to have much more of a meal and it's a big group, I would definitely say go on their website and make a reservation just to be safe.
Awesome. Well, should we turn it over to Ashley?
Yeah, let's bring her on.
Hi, it's Ashley here from Mimi's. Kevin and Carlos kindly okayed me to just fire in here just to give you a bit of an update. Since recording this episode, we've had a bit of news. So in this episode, I talk a lot about the challenges and the struggles of hospitality, which is still very much a thing. So with that in mind, we decided to take the decision after this recording to close our original site at 63 Shore, an absolute heart versus head decision, which really did take a lot of thought and effort and energy to make, but it wasn't working despite a lot of efforts I've put into the shore in the recent years with working with the community. So, hey, the sign of madness is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So, I bring you Nami. We're so excited to finally open Nami. It's a real passion project for the three of us, and we wanted to create the kind of place we choose to go ourselves. It's a pan-Asian restaurant, somewhere you can come with your family to celebrate or just drop in with friends for great food, a couple of cocktails, and a really relaxed vibe. It really is a love letter to the food that we love. The shore's always been part of our story, so it means so lot to bring something new to the neighbourhood. We've loved working with amazing chefs and designers to bring Nami to life, and we can't wait for people to come and try the dishes and hopefully make it a spot where we want to return again and again. So check out Nami, as well as Mimi's, and follow along on this crazy journey. But for now, thank you again to Kevin and Carlos and all you, our amazing customers, and I hope you enjoy this episode.
So we're just going to dive right in. We like to do this with some of our guests. Start with the hardest question first.
Okay.
So how many cupcakes are you all making on average every day?
We make about 1,000 cakes a day.
Wow. 1,000 cakes a day?
Yeah. So cupcakes would be about a quarter of that, or maybe a half. A couple of our wholesale concession customers just take cupcakes. So I would say about 400 to 500 cupcakes a day, potentially.
That's a lot.
And that's like a quiet day, I would say. Our biggest day of the year is Mother's Day, and Christmas and Halloween. We're quite a seasonal bakery.
What's your favorite cake?
I love that question. It changes. My favourite go-to is something called a mint aero slice, which is like a tray bake. So that cut up with a cup of tea is my go-to.
So I want to get into the origin story, but before we really dive into that, when Mimi started, what was the baked good that it was off of the back of? Was there one thing that your mom that was her thing?
My mum talks about the book that came from her granny. When we started Mimi's, it was this book. And I was like, what is this book, Mum? Like, what are you on about? This book doesn't exist. It actually does. And it's like an old brown book and it's a recipe book that her granny gave her. So it kind of starts from that. But also growing up, my mum baked all our cakes. So like our birthday cakes were always baked by my mum. So looking back, it probably started from my mum always baking for us as kids, and just my mum was like the hostess with the mostest. Like she hosted Christmas, Boxing Day. We always had an annual Halloween party, and I just my mum just being an amazing baker and baking some amazing classic cakes. Like my mum's chocolate cake is perfection.
I'm a very traditional cake guy. I like chocolate on chocolate or vanilla.
Yeah, I'm here for
and
it.
Carrot cake without
no nuts.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's the way God intended carrot cake to be.
All right, so let's dive into the origin story a little bit more. Obviously, it's a fairly well-known story now. You guys have it on the website. It's been in the press, so listeners can go get the deeper dive. But provide some context for us on how Mimi's came to be and how it got to where it is today.
I always go back to the 80s because my mum and dad had a restaurant in the 80s called Bruins. It was on Clark Street. And back then, and still probably now, we are a day business. Having an evening restaurant with a family is quite difficult. So they gave it up. And my dad became a taxi driver. He was a black cabbie for 20 years. My mum was a stay-at-home mum. And then, long story short, she ended up being a school dinner lady, which is a great job if you've got kids because you get all the holidays. And she was a bit Jamie Oliver of her time, and she was always trying new things. And she always had that vision of doing something else. So yeah, Mimi's came about 15 years ago, 2010. My mum's vision and dream of wanting to start her own thing, and everyone told her not to. She'd worked for a cafe called Loopy Lorna's in Morningside. She was the baker and chef there, so she helped start that, and she kind of saw that and was like, I can do this myself. So she decided to just go for it, and we sold my dad's taxi plate and taxi and sold our family home and put everything into it. And yeah, 15 years later, we're still here. So.
And how long was she involved? Because I know she stepped back from it now.
She's still involved, like from afar. She doesn't work in it day to day, but I don't actually know timing wise. But my mum's got MS, which she doesn't like to talk about. But then now she started talking about it, so I just tell people because I think she's amazing. So that kind of curbed her mobility a bit, but she's very behind the scenes. She's always there. She's also the chair of the Scottish Bakers Association, which is quite a formal role. So she's very ceremonial, and with us, she's just always on it. She's really good with like trends and flavors. She's in her 60s, but she loves like Instagram and videos and reels, and she's always dropping us stuff. So although she stepped back physically, she's never really stepped back like just that sort of voice from above and someone to check in with. So we've been running it sort of day to day for the last 5+ years, but she's always there.
Got it. And does she still do the cakes for everybody's birthdays and all that?
You know what she does? And she's an amazing grandmother. There's 4 grandkids and she looks after them and she always bakes with them. And like she's teaching them how to ice and teaching them how to bake and stuff. So that is her little contribution. And if she wants Mimi's to make something, she'll make it first. Try this, I've baked this. And Jen was like, yeah, Mum, but we've got 5 shops. And like, she bakes it at home, which is amazing, but it's always giving ideas and stuff. So yeah, she bakes for fun. My dad's a good baker as well.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people know that. He bakes a mean banana loaf. He's a chef. My dad worked at the Cafe Royal from the age of 15 or 16.
You know, one of the things I love is this intergenerational family. When we were praying questions and went deep on the website and articles and other podcasts that you guys have been on and things like that, that's a story that just really leaped out at both of us. I want to know, what were some of those really early pressures that you remember from a family? And then vice versa, when did you guys turn a corner like, oh, this is a success?
Yeah. My mum talks about the hug as you walk in the door and like nostalgic. We grew up in a very small house in a really posh area of Edinburgh. Don't tell anyone. I pretend to be a Leither, but grew up in the south side. And honestly, my house was just always full of love and friends always wanted to come. And it was so small and it's just always been that vision of bringing people together with food. Everyone's got their opinions. Not everyone loves Mimi's, but like at the core of what we do, there's so much love and we want to recreate the idea of some of the food that we remember as kids, bringing that together. So knowing that that was always at the heart of it, becoming a success 15 years ago, like social media didn't really exist. So you had to rely on like press and things like that and just word of mouth. So knowing we're success probably when the queues were out the door. But honestly, like some of the growth we've had has been quite strategic. Some's been quite organic. So actually, I don't really know what success looks like, I don't think. Right now, it's quite tough in hospitality. I think it's quite hard. So it's nice to look back and think, no, we've done some good stuff.
You've just talked about this idea of like give people a hug when they walk in the door. And I can think of so many times when you go up to the Mimi's counter in Cumley Bank and everybody has a smile.
Yeah.
Because everyone is looking at the cakes.
I always say I think hospitality and food, it should be fun. Like we should be having fun, right? Like,
especially when you're transacting in cakes.
Cake is currency.
Exactly.
Cake is currency and it brings people joy. And if they're not full of joy when it comes to cake, then that's okay. Like we can fix it. But one of my pet hates is 1-star reviews with no context. Just please drop us an email. That's my plea to your listeners. Before you give anyone a public shame, drop them an email. Their chef might have got sick. Their granddad might have just died. Like you don't know what's happened that day. Like we're all just human beings.
Talking to all our guests, everybody talks about how they got into this business to make people happy, to give them a good experience and to share something with them. I can't imagine a place wouldn't want to know that somebody had a bad experience so they could make it better.
Yeah, I'm not trying to ruin your day. So if I serve someone a cappuccino and it's not quite right and they go absolutely ballistic, which has happened, this cappuccino is terrible, it's not about the cappuccino. And I kind of want to say to, I think I've done it once, but are you okay? What's going on with you? Because maybe they just got divorced. Maybe their best friends just passed away. Who knows? But surely it's not the cappuccino. I don't get that upset about bad coffee. And also the person standing in front of you is just a person. Human beings, transaction with human beings. When it comes to hospitality, especially us, people think we're bigger than we are. The company is run by me, my 2 sisters, a small, amazing management team. There's really not that many of us. So when you email about a cake, it's Ashley you're getting, or Natalie, or Gemma, or Rebecca, or Craig. Like that's it. So you're speaking to people. So just remember that.
You know, Edinburgh over the past few years has really seen an influx of new bakeries, new coffee shops. How has that impacted what you guys do and how you approach what you do?
I think it's about, for us, partnerships is really key. So when I joined the business, I was really keen on the product, the produce, and like who you work with. People buy from people, right? So at the time we were using a coffee supplier in Glasgow. They were then bought by a German company and it was just okay coffee. And I was really keen to like partner with someone local. So we've worked with Machina now for 6 years and that's been amazing. People don't associate Mimi's with a really good cup of coffee, but spoiler alert, you can get a really good cup of coffee at Mimi's. So we put the hatch into Call Me Banks. Call Me Banks sells the most coffee because that was a COVID baby and we put a hatch in. So
I love the hatch.
We love the hatch.
I love the hatch.
We love the
it's very
hatch.
like Latin and Spanish, you know. your branding is so colorful and welcoming and inviting. It's a bakery that is a little bit timeless with very little differences. You could be in the 1950s or in the 1980s or now in a great way. It's a timeless love for cake. And I think that philosophy that you've talked about that stems from your mother and your father and that kind of family, it really shines through. And I think it's very unique to you guys.
It's difficult in the current climate of cafe culture, which I think's boomed the last 10 years. I talk about hipster a lot. I don't say Mimi's particularly hipster, but that's okay. I think there's space for us. But we are looking inward at our brand and be like, how do we stay relevant? How do you stay cool? It's really difficult. When you start talking about brand, I'm like, lean into that. That's okay. Like, you don't need to be the hip, cool thing. You can just be the consistent thing. That's our big thing about consistency. I just want people to get a really awesome scone, really up a cup of tea. Hospitality is quite tough right now. So if we don't have the money to refurb, or, it might not be the most modern, up to date, but to refurb a cafe or restaurant, to shut for a period of time, that's a huge outlay. So it's really interesting you say that, because it's something that we're proud of, but also sometimes questioning, should we be more modern? And it's no, just lean into what you are, and people will see that. And it's about consistency and celebrations. So it's just kind of balancing that with the cafe spaces, which are really hard to run, and we don't always get it right. But somewhere like Conley Bank, you hire the right team, hire on personality, and they will be an extension of your family, an extension of your brand, and make people feel welcome. And that is timeless. Service that's a little bit standoffish, just not that cool. I just want a friendly, hi, how are you? Is that so much to ask?
I feel like that's such the Scottish way too, welcoming and inviting. I feel like there aren't many places in Edinburgh where you get that kind of standoffish service. Anywhere you go, you can make friends with whoever's serving you, which is always the best way to have it.
Every place that is on our interview list, we have a personal connection to. And what makes that personal connection is the people. That makes me want to go to his restaurant more.
We've had friendships and relationships built, whether it's staff to staff, staff to customer. It's amazing to connect those connections. It's really not something we should take for granted. Hospitality is the last line of defense for loneliness. You really do engage with people, and actually that connection is so important. So, and we don't always get it right, but we try. It's hard, but it's easy if you hire the right people.
Yeah. So jumping back a little bit, want to dig into the relationship with you and your sisters. What's the age difference with you and your sisters?
I give very older child energy, but I'm actually the middle sister. So my big sister will be 40 in November. I'm 38 and my little sister is 35. So we're 5 years
pretty close together
between us. Yeah.
And were you all involved from day one?
So the business started with my mum, dad, 2 sisters and my brother-in-law, and I was living overseas at the time. But as soon as I knew it was happening, I was like, oh, I'm coming home. At the beginning, everyone just worked on the floor and got on with it, but our roles evolved as time went on. So my big sister Natalie does all the finance, all the payroll, paid all the suppliers. And funny story, when she went on mat leave, it was just how exposing about how good she is at that, because I paid all the suppliers twice and my brother-in-law didn't pay the staff. So we were just really, really bad at that job. So she's really key and focuses on that. And then my little sister Gemma is the baker. So she got that from my mum. Gemma worked at Gemma went to college and then she worked at Loopy's in Morningside with my mum. So she's head baker. So everyone kind of had their space. And then when I knew I was coming 2-3 years later, I had events. That was always my thing. I've now kind of evolved into more of a leadership role. Just that's my vibe. Anyone that knows me knows that's my vibe, telling people what to do. I worked in construction and then I was doing construction conferencing, so events. So I could kind of see a niche, I think, for business to survive is you've got your brick and mortar stores, but what can you do beyond that? So our first event was Edinburgh Christmas. Would have been 10 years ago, I think, with Underbelly, who I still work with, Ruth Fisher, who I absolutely love. We worked together on Edinburgh Christmas when it was in St Andrews Square, and there was a ice rink around the middle, so that was really fun, and that kind of evolved. So I think we used to stay in our lane much more, and now with the business, the way it's grown and things, we all kind of get involved in lots of things, but we all brought something different to the table, and I think that helped a lot.
And so your various roles are what fit with your personalities? Yeah,
Natalie worked in a bank. She worked for RBS and she got made redundant just before Mimi's opened, and Gemma was a baker with my mum and I worked in events, so everything just kind of sort of aligned.
But family dynamics, I don't have to tell you, are complicated. They can be difficult, particularly among siblings, right?
Yes.
How do you guys navigate difference of opinions or visions for the business? What is that like?
It's hard. I think what really helped, and this is not for everyone because I'm not a poster girl for having kids, but having kids helped. Because we used to talk about Mimi's all the time. And we had this joke that our husbands would just be like, oh, we'll just get a drink like this. Here they go. But actually our kids are all quite close in age. So there's Rose, Skye, Mikey and Connell. And that kind of removes that. So my two favourite days of the year are the 25th and the 26th of December because Mimi's is closed. It's the only 2 days it's closed and we just have the best Christmas and we don't talk about Mimi's. I was emailing my sisters at 10 o'clock last night asking them questions about things, and that's okay, that it can fit into space. And I think that's part of being a family business. But I just mean in terms of those special occasions, or if we take the kids to pumpkin patch or we're at the soft play, we're not going to sit there and start crunching numbers. I think that we've grown into that. I'm not saying we're 9 to 5 Monday to Friday. We're absolutely not. But just making that space for family time and those important connections has really been really key. So we're pretty good if we're all together, especially if there's non-Mimi's people there. I don't think it's really fair if we just sit there and start going into the ins and outs and our aunties there going, this is, thanks for inviting me to dinner, this is fun. So yeah, we can divide a little bit, and I think that's really important to help with dynamics.
You talked about how you guys have each other's back and you guys load share at this point. Flipping the family dynamics question on its head, what are some of the benefits that you get from working with your sisters?
Your company culture is your family culture. It's the same thing. So I think all being super aligned with the fact that we're a second generation business, you're just all on the same page. So yeah, I think it's just always being aligned in those core key values and knowing that you're all the same all the time is not always possible, but ultimately the end goal is the same. Another family business said, we are custodians of the brand, which I really like. It's about looking after mum and dad and handing something over to our kids if they want it, whatever your future holds. If you get these generational businesses that nobody's willing to take it on. Right now, Mikey, my son, wants to be a Mimi's van driver, and Rose, my niece, wants to be a baker. So it's ingrained in them. The business will be there if they want to come on, but you're just always thinking, we are custodians of this brand. My mum's made it. We helped her build it. We're holding on to it, ready to do something else with it, and we're all that way aligned. So I think that helps with just always coming back to that and trying not to clash.
We talked about the feeling of getting a hug when you walk into Mimi's. Where does that come from?
I think just from being quite a close family. My dad's got 5 sisters. My mum's got a sister and 3 brothers, so big family. Brits are very good at saying, how are you? What's the best British answer to that question? How are you? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay. No one's okay. Everyone's struggling with something. So I think it was never just about making a coffee shop. It is a community space. We try to support local communities where we can. And as I said, last line of defense of loneliness, I genuinely believe that. And also, times are tough. People are really thinking about how they spend their money. If they're choosing to spend their money here, what an honour. Yeah. What an absolute honour. That sounds cheesy. I don't mean it to be cheesy. I genuinely think that. Just think about where you're spending your money. These big brands that don't pay tax in this country and all that. If you go into an amazing coffee shop, a Williams & Johnson or a Machina or something, and you buy, it means so much. And it's all staying here. It's just not taking that for granted and just being appreciative. And yeah, people come in I've been coming in since my son was a baby, now he's 15. That is huge. You've done every birthday cake for my daughter. She's 10. It's not just about serving a soup or serving. There's more to it. And you can make all the stuff at home. Everything we do, it's not like Michelin meal where you're oh my God, how did they do that? So that's quite powerful. You're choosing to come in and you could make your own scone. Obviously it won't be as good, but you could. So just not taking that for granted, that people are choosing to spend time with you and share experiences and celebrations. It's massive.
Well, I can tell you that we moved to Edinburgh 5 years ago and every major thing comes from Mimi's. And it's true. I mean, to the point that the first time my 13-year-old went out from school, she went to Mimi's. I think that philosophy to customer service comes through both overtly, but also you just feel it.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I really love about Mimi's and really impresses me about Mimi's is how much the city identifies with Mimi's as well. It really is an Edinburgh institution and a place that is a part of a lot of families' celebrations and a lot of families' lives. And there seems to be this loyalty back and forth. Hearing you talk about how much you love customers and how honored you feel that they are in your establishment, the community very much reciprocates on that and feels honored to have a place like that.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if because crossing that divide of customer and when you're serving someone, there's a couple of fun stories. There's a lady called Liz who I'm still friends with, I absolutely love. And we just met in Mimi's and sort of bonded over a love of cake. Her and her friend used to come in for years and we're friends. We text and we go out for drinks and stuff. And then I have another amazing customer called India, and it turned out she was having her second baby and I was getting married at the same time. So we were on this trajectory. I was serving her and she was coming in and she's oh, baby's due, a wedding soon. And then I came back married. She came back with baby, came in with her partner and she was oh, Paul, this is... She went, oh, I don't know your name. But and he was wait a minute, you guys just hugged and you've shared all these experiences, you don't need each other's names. And I was well, we do now.
Yeah, exactly.
And now we're Instagram buddies and we text and stuff, but it's not often you cross that over because I think there's a boundary. Not everyone's coming in for that, so you have to watch. But there's those key relationships I always remember because it was just so funny when he said you don't know, that's women though, we just chat to anyone. But yeah, it has created these key relationships.
And obviously that translates into revenue. right? That's not why you do it. You do it because it's genuine, but it does translate into people wanting to be regulars and they have that positive association with Mimi's, not just the cake, but with the institution and the business. And so they come back. And I just think that that kind of customer service makes a lot of business sense. So from like a business perspective, what's been the biggest surprise, in a good surprise, let's say, for the last couple of years that you're like, wow, that's been amazing or transformational for the business?
I don't like to talk about COVID too much, but we did pivot. When COVID hit, we had a website, we were selling cake online, we had vans, we were delivering. And then I remember sitting in my flat with my brother-in-law, sisters, kids were tiny, and we like started drinking whiskey. I don't like whiskey because we were like, oh well, this is it, like this is all going to go under. And then actually remember sitting watching Boris, like everyone stay at home. And we just quite quickly pivoted online. So we realized we were an essential business, so we could stay open. So the fact that we had all that infrastructure in place meant we got DPD, we did UK wide, and we pivoted the business quite quickly. So that was pretty huge. And I don't like to talk about it too much because it was very much a very unique trading circumstance. And I think a lot of bad came out of it. But it did teach us about the power of online. And I think that is the future, because obviously we took the keys to our external bakery in November 2019 and opened it in March 2020. So we're like, oh, but actually that's been quite a pivotal moment and showed us our capacity. We've never quite answered the question, what is our capacity? Like, I told you it's 1,000 cakes a day. We can make 2. So just understanding the capacity of having an external bakery and what that actually means, working with our wholesale partners, working with our concession. Something like Archerfield Walled Garden came out of lockdown because myself and a guy called Ross, who we've been chatting, and we were like, we should open a concession in Archerfield. And then suddenly COVID hit, he was like, let's just do it. And he just built it. Actually, if you align yourself with right-minded people, good things can happen out of that. And we still work with Archerfield. It's a great partnership. People think it's Mimi's. It's not Mimi's. They just built a Mimi's inside this amazing shop, cafe space. And they're one of our best customers and it's a great relationship, but it's just showing you the power of community conversation and what can come out of something bad. Right now, trading's very difficult. It's make you look inward, right, what are we good at? How can we evolve? What can we do next? Always trying to move and push forward. If it's not working, then you need to change it up. So yeah, not to put a negative spin on it, we shut a shop last year and we realised that we went into COVID with 4 shops and we came out with 6. And we're like, how did that happen? Who signed those leases? But we were offered things and conversations happened and we were like, yeah, we do that. And then we realised we had 2 shops within a 7-minute walk of each other, Canongate and Market Street. We're like, what are we doing? And one basically just stole the business from the other. So shutting Canongate should have been a really negative thing, but it felt quite positive, it felt quite like enlightened. I was like, oh, we, especially that second generation thing, it's like that was our decision to close it. It was our second ever Mimi's. It was the first time moving out of the shore. So it was a pretty special little place for a long time. But a mixture of Waverley Court, which is the Edinburgh Council building down the road, and everyone's working from home now, nobody's coming up. The Airbnb thing, Airbnb licensing changed. So there wasn't as many Airbnbs on the street. And we had one 7 minutes down the road, which was 50 covers, and this one was 7. So it felt quite an empowered decision. I was like, oh, we can close a shop and maintain turnover because actually we'll just drive those people down, the big poster in the window, like there's maybe 7 minutes from here. So yeah, making decisions like that's a heart head thing that's always quite difficult, but I felt quite proud of us for making that decision and standing in that shop. So those decisions are really difficult and challenging, but you have to stop and feel proud of yourself for making them because that's about sustainability. And
when did you guys make the decision that you were going to really grow? Like what went into that decision of we're going to go from our one shop down at the shore and we're going to start opening more places. We're going to do the online, have an industrial bakery.
I genuinely believe that a lot of the things were quite organic. We always wanted a second one and Canongate felt natural. It was like tourists hotspot. At the time, people like Lola's in London and like these cupcakes were quite cool and we're like, oh, we can do this. And so that felt like the right move. And then next came Corstorphine. It was interesting pre-2020, but we identified that like neighbourhoods were quite important, like Comley Bank is to you. It's like actually dropping a Mimi's into a neighbourhood setting where you get that, and then actually the next 3 just kind of came about. I have learned that like that was the right decision at the time, but in the current climate, as soon as you add a brick and mortar store, I had a meeting with someone yesterday who has 1 spot and they were like, should I open another? And I'm like, really think about your demographic because what you're doing is splitting your customer base in half, potentially. I do think the reason we're closed Canongate and you're just stealing your own customers. So they used to come down to the shore and that the shore's got its challenges because of council projects and things at the minute, so your customers just go elsewhere. You have to really think about it, and I think I should stop and thinking, who is the customers? Who's coming here? And if you've got one shop and you want to open a second, just think about what your offering is and who you're offering it to.
And in this day and age, is most of the baking done at the industrial bakery and distributed out to the shops?
Yes, all of it's done there. So it helps with consistency, capacity and everything. It's like a lot of our shops, like Lauriston Castle is tiny. There's nowhere to bake there. Like when we started Call Me Bank, we were very conscious of the smaller your kitchen, the more covers you can get in. So that's that constant battle. Like, yeah, everyone would love this huge big kitchen, but then you're not chicken and egg with covers versus back of house space. So yeah, everything's baked from Granton. We're an amazing team of bakers that fire out a lot of cake every day. But yeah, hopefully it means consistency and it means that everything goes out the same, which is really great.
How many people are you employing now?
82.
And how many of them are in the industrial bakery?
It can be up to about 10 bakers kind of working a day. There's about 10 to 15 kind of bakers total and kitchen porters. Bakery assistants. It's a lot of people. And I always remember the first person that got a mortgage. Like when someone worked for Mimi's and they got a mortgage on a house, you're like, oh, somebody else said that in your podcast about like the responsibility of employing someone that's a mortgage. That can lay quite heavy on you. But yeah, it's a lot of people and it's a lot on payroll and obviously things like the national insurance contributions last year, that has a huge impact. So it's a lot. Labour is your biggest spend of any business and you want to keep that consistent, but also be aware that you want to try pay your staff as the best you can and everything and look after them because they are what makes your business. So.
Yeah. And I'm sure with like you're saying about how much you value the people that come in and are patrons of your restaurant, I'm sure you have a very similar place in your heart for those who work for you.
Yeah, for sure. One of our biggest challenges, and I still don't have an answer to this, but what does it mean to be a family business when you're not there every day? We're very open and accessible and always available to people, but it's always been that challenge of like, I personally know a lot of our staff and some of them are friends, but how does that translate to like the day to day? And that's just about how you communicate with them and stuff. But communication is such a buzzword. Like it works both ways. You can put out as much communication as you want, but nobody's listening. So it's just about making sure that they feel valued and taken care of. Someone taught me, Leo, who used to be our area manager, who's a great guy who now lives out in Berlin. He taught me something like, why do we celebrate people leaving businesses? People leave and we give them stuff. Why don't you celebrate people that are staying? So we do anniversary gifts. We don't do leaving gifts. Aww. So if somebody leaves, bye. Well, it's been lovely knowing you. Like if they've been there a long time, a wee thing, but everyone gets
don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yeah. And that's not in a mean way. It's like, it's been lovely, but wish you well. And obviously we have a lot of people that are uni students, so they're doctors, teachers, and so it's not like they're leaving because they hate you. So it's not a bad thing. It's just like, why are you investing on them? They're leaving. Like invest in the people that are staying. So every anniversary, after 1 year, you get like a thank you and a wee cake. After 2 years, you get cake and a bottle of fizz. And after 3 years, you get kind of more personalized. And I take on that role as the person that buys the gifts, and I love it. So we try to do things like that.
So we have a series of quick fire wrap up questions that I want to get to in a second, but I have one more question for you. You've mentioned a couple times the hardships of hospitality at the moment, and I was wondering if you can explain a little bit more what those are at this point in time. What are the hardships that you face and that you feel like restaurants and hospitality is facing in general?
A lot of listeners on the podcast are people who love food, but don't work in food or in hospitality at all. And so a lot of the feedback has been like, of course, I know fundamentally that it is a business, but I don't think about it that way because obviously you never want a customer to ever feel that at all. So a lot of the things that people love about the podcast is just hearing like, oh yeah, like it is a business.
The first thing I'd ask people to do is go follow a group called UK Hospitality on Instagram, who are a lobbying kind of group for hospitality. They're doing a lot of work. Campaign just now called #TaxedOut. I talk a lot about how much are you willing to spend on a latte. It's going to get to £5. It has got to £5. Like it's £5 for a latte, and people go, how much? There's an Instagrammer called Plate Expectations. Ailey, she's amazing, and she's just posted a graphic about all the London restaurants, and they've posted their famous dish and what goes into it and what their profit is. Just go look at that. They're much more eloquent than me. All I would say is the costs are going up, and we're a bit ceilinged on what people are willing to spend. We get told all the time we're too expensive. Go bake a cake. Go buy the butter, go buy the eggs, go buy the chocolate and tell me we're expensive, because actually all those things have gone up. Like chocolate has doubled in price, coffee's got its challenges, like everything's challenging. National insurance was honestly a bit of a blow. That's put a large percentage on your wage bill every month. So like I read today that 30% of hospitality businesses are running on a loss. When I say it's hard, it's really, really hard. Just to open the door to one of our cafes is £500. And that's everything at your house that's gone up. So like just think about your house and your cost. I went away this weekend with a friend. We did a shop at a supermarket, which we picked up. Last year it was £90. This year that shop was £180. Same stuff. So I'm like, if people are struggling, think about it at home as the costs that have gone up for you, and think about it from a business point of view. And where I'm all for minimum wage going up, minimum wage should go up, but when it's getting up to £12 something, then everything else has to go up. And some of the bigger boys that charge these crazy prices for a funky coffee with all sorts going on, it's like, I get it. And then people call us expensive. I'm like, there's so much goes into that. So I've started a group down at the Shore called the Shore Business Collective, just fed up of making no money down there and the work that's been going on. So we've come together as a collective, and that's been so powerful. We're on Instagram, we've set up a page, we're having conversations with the council, and just ask your local cafe, ask them how they're getting on, ask how things are. And the classic, you don't have to just spend money, like share their Instagram posts, comment on their posts. If you comment on someone's posts, say Visit Edinburgh's post, then that means Visit Edinburgh's audience is going to see Mimi's. Well, that's so simple. But as a person, if you could just comment on one of Mimi's posts and say, that cake looks great, then maybe your audience of 200 followers will see Mimi's. That's huge. So yeah, look at that group, have a look at what's going on, and just, ask your local cafe how they are.
We'll be sure to link at it on the show notes. And
yes.
things like
All right, wrap up questions.
Yes.
So what one Mimi's treat are you taking home most days?
Mint Aero Slice.
On the Mimi's website, you talk about you liking cake for breakfast. What's the best breakfast cake?
A scone.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
There's a lot of bad scones out there. A lot of bad scones. We have had conversations with people that are just obsessed with our scones. And it's because we bake them fresh every day. They're never
The
frozen.
cheddar ones are...
Cheddar and chive. Spot on.
Are you a savory scone or a sweet scone person?
Controversially, I used to not like a scone. My sisters laugh at me because I used to say it's a vessel for cream and jam. Like the best jam, which we make, and the best clotted cream, which is Rhoda's from Cornwall. But I think it's an older woman thing. Like I've learned to kind of lean into them. And I love a plain scone with jam and cream. Or a cheese scone with a bowl of soup. It's a great lunch.
Since I moved here and getting introduced to the scone with clotted cream, it was just eye-opening.
And there's
Just
so many
a different world.
scone,
Scone.
jam, cream, jam. Just such a big conversation piece.
I'm always going savory. So when talking about scones, I'm like cheddar and chives all day, every day. Every day. Don't even give me an option. That's just what I'm choosing.
That's what you're having. Perfect. What's your favorite cake?
Consistently, probably a chocolate cake.
It's a good chocolate cake.
Chocolate
Yeah,
frosting.
Yeah.
Like classic. I love Mimi's chocolate cake.
Do you warm it like 10 seconds in the microwave? Chocolate cake, extra thick double cream. Or just spray cream, just
man.
elevates it to another level.
No, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Next.
This is why we're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
It's that insider information.
I don't know. Like, again, I always lean savory, cheddar and chives scones. But there's no cheesecake that I will never say no to.
Cheesecake.
Like a Basque cheesecake or just like
Who
that.
does a Basque cheesecake in Edinburgh? I don't even know who does one.
Lannon does it.
Do they? Oh.
Yeah, Lannon
12
does.
triangles, maybe?
I think 12
Oh, is it
triangles.
triangles? Yeah,
like down the
okay.
street. All right, a friend comes to visit Edinburgh. Where are you taking them to eat?
Should I do a day or just like where am I taking them?
Go.
Go.
Do a day.
Go,
do a day.
Go. The day. We're going to Mimi's.
Obviously.
Obviously for breakfast. We do breakfast. Who knew? We do breakfast. We're going to
Well,
Mimi's.
the scone is the best breakfast cake.
Obviously.
Yeah, we're going for a scone or a full breakfast, or we do amazing French toast. I'll stay down the shore because that's where I live. I'm probably taking them to like the new Port of Leith distillery for a wee tour up to the bar, maybe another wee coffee or maybe a wee glass of fizz if it's 12 o'clock.
Their fizz is so good. The champagne that they have.
We sell that in our shops. And
Oh,
we
do
sell
you?
it online. It's amazing. It's so good. The guys there, they're just amazing what they do and what they've created there. Like I can see it from outside my house, like the virtual distillery. If you've not gone, go. It's amazing. I am obsessed with Britannia. I have my son is really into all things transportation. I have an annual pass. So I love the little cafe on there. Like a wee scoot round if they're tourists and then like grab a wee cup of tea and a scone and pretend to be the queen. And then I'm back down the shore. I love Three Marys. I love Ocean Mist for drinks and cocktails. Our Michelin triangle, I mean, it doesn't exist anywhere but the shore. Like, we're so lucky. Like, Heron, Martin Wish at Top of the Kitchen, like, that is just insane. If you've got the budget there, like, go. But there's some awesome spots down there. You've got, like, Tapa, Roseleaf Pub is insane, like, for a pint. Like, this is just the shore, because I could go out to, like, Stockbridge or I'm just sticking to the shore because it's easier. And yeah, nightcap at Three Marys or a wee pint of Malt and Hops. Like, it's just, we're so lucky. Like, I live in the best place in Edinburgh, for sure.
Amazing.
All right. Between rice, bread, and pasta, you can only have one for the rest of your life. Which one are you having?
It's got to be bread. I'm a baker. I'm actually not a baker. Spoiler alert. I'm not. They call me Slapdash Ash, so I'm not allowed to bake. But it's got to be bread. Like bread crumbs as well, so I could have like chicken Milanese and all that stuff. So you imagine having a chicken Kiev. I love it all, but I love it all obviously. But like a piece of sourdough in the morning, like go to Leith Market and get a big sourdough, or like 12 triangle sourdough is insane.
Yeah. What's the that one bakery on Leith Walk?
It used to be Hobbs.
Right across the street from it.
Cava? I can't pronounce it. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah,
insane.
Their breads are so good.
Imagine living without that. What are you going to have? Rice for your breakfast?
No, I'm having pasta.
Oh, for breakfast?
Yeah.
No,
rice.
I'm having sourdough with honey and butter. Like, come on. Like, Edinburgh Butter Company. Oh, yes.
I went to Japan a few years ago, and the first night we stayed at like a big hotel, and we go down in the morning for breakfast, and I was like, I'm in Japan. I'm going to eat the Japanese breakfast.
Yeah.
And I go in, and it's just all rice dishes, and I was like, one, amazing, but two, rice for breakfast? Like, I was like mind blown,
Wild.
right? Yeah.
I was the same. I went to Japan, had sushi for breakfast. Or when I lived overseas, I worked with a lot of people from India, and they would have like curry for breakfast, and they'd be like, Ashley, come have some curry. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, but like, it's so cool when you immerse yourself in different cuisines and stuff. But yeah, it's very cool. But yeah, bread all the way.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure getting to hear your story, getting to hear Mimi's story, and it's been a lot of fun. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
A big thank you again to Ashley for coming on and sharing the Mimi story, but also I really appreciated her candor in sharing the difficulty that restaurants face in today's world. It really shows what a labor of love it is.
And also really gets to the heart of something that we've been trying to do with the show from the very beginning. We do get to geek out with these people about the restaurants because we're fanboys and we love it. But also it's an industry. It's a business, and it can't just all be about the food.
I feel like for me, it gives me so much more of an appreciation for the food that I'm eating and the experience that I'm having in these places, to really understand the challenges and the difficulties that go into putting together an amazing establishment and delivering day in and day out for your customers. These sorts of glimpses behind the curtain really make me love the Edinburgh food scene that much more.
Couldn't agree more.
So transitioning from the institution that is Mimi's Bakehouse to one of the newer restaurants in the city, who are we talking to next?
We are going to be talking to James Clark, who is the driving force behind Soto, the modern Italian bistro. You say newer restaurants, but it's been around for a year. And it's already won many an accolade, and it's become a Stockbridge favorite.
Yeah, it was a really enlightening conversation to hear James talk about what it took to open Soto so recently and sort of the journey that he went on from having the vision for this restaurant to really putting it into place. You know, it's a place that is new in Edinburgh, but really feels rooted in so much of Edinburgh's history and culture. So listeners, until next time.